mix, and also what the guys were saying is controlling the controllables, doing that better. What was kind of the balance you saw?
We just have to do a lot of things better. It starts with playing harder and being organized.
Is there a difference when you talk about, and I know this team is accustomed to it, the early onslaught offense with Luka from the regular season to postseason? And is there a difference that kind of comes with that in terms of being ready for it or prepared?
For our team or the other team? No, I think the guys are comfortable with that.
JJ, you guys have struggled to find rhythm at times this season when you've had extended breaks. First game back after the Fires, first game back after All-Star break, even first game back after LeBron missed some time. Why do you think that's been the case with this group? And did you see kind of signs of that, I guess, in game one after you guys had a week off?
Yeah, I think as a coach, we talked about it as a staff right after the game. It's like, should we have scrimmaged more during that week? I think in season, you're constantly trying to balance rest and recovery and health and also getting exposure to live action. The time in January, that was the one game against San Antonio. We weren't very good, but that was hard because we didn't want to kill the guys because they literally could say you're playing tomorrow, or they were canceling games the game before. Mm-hmm. So it was hard to really put together like a normal practice. It was more about just staying sharp. I think this week, we probably could have done a few more scrimmages, but we had our best practice we've had in months. They played live for a very extended period of time. Got a good lather.
What was the message going into this morning's practice?
This morning's practice message. We focused yesterday on our defense. We focused today on our offense.
When you talk about organization, how is that? Where does that responsibility lie? Like when you guys get organized, how does it?
Yeah, I think a lot of times you would hear that word and you would think, oh, it's the point guard calling a play. No, it's just all of the normal stuff that we try to do, and when we do it, we're really good. Being organized is screening. Being organized is getting to the proper spacing. Being organized is getting the corners filled after makes and misses. That's being organized. It's not like, there's set calls you would call after dead balls, free throws, and whatnot. But our early offense stuff, like any team, it's the same shit. It's remarkable how many possessions we had. 4 guys at half court with 15 on the clock, like literally just like bunched up together at half court. So that's what it means to be organized.
Just half court defensively, or what's the balance between showing Edwards and bodies and kind of the corners and them getting open? Sometimes even he's getting the penetration first, but how do you walk that line?
Yeah, I mean, again, we went back and looked back at every 3-pointer they made. That wasn't why they made 3-pointers. So
You talked about the physicality after that game. Austin Reeves also said, we just weren't physical enough. When you look, how do you adjust for physicality? How do you game plan physicality?
There's no game plan for physicality. We have been, in my opinion, one of the more physical teams in the NBA the last half of the year since mid-January. It's who we are. I take Saturday's game from a physicality standpoint as an aberration.
Do you look at something like the fact that I think it took you guys like 18 minutes to call for a foul in that game as a sign that you weren't into players enough? I know generally you don't want to foul, but I don't think 0 is a good number probably for you. Is that how you felt?
Yeah.
Coach, when it comes to, now that you've been able to look at game one and step away from it and just kind of analyze it, what's your biggest takeaway in terms of adjustments for game two, just generally speaking, from game one?
Not giving away our adjustments.
Right. No, I mean just in general, like in terms of watching the tape, not being in the moment.
Got to play harder. Yeah.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.